Welcome to another Q&A. This Q&A is actually all about FlowRed Plus. And so we're going to go through the basics of it and a little bit about how it's different from FlowRed, because some of our earlier videos are about FlowRed and it's kind of changed a bit.
They've been waiting for an update.
Waiting for an update.
Yeah, and here it is.
For about 18 months. So,
wow.
Yeah. So FlowRed Plus is, the plus symbol is to indicate that we increase the flow rate from it, because with the radial brushes, we knew that we needed to get a half gallon a minute, 2 liters per minute flow rate. And then we had to get the hose and the tube to carry the half gallon a minute, and then we had to get the FlowRed to deliver the half gallon a minute.
Because it's not about the pressure, it's about the flow rate.
It's about the flow rate.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's what we've been trying to say for a long time.
For a long time. So under normal conditions, and there's a lot of information about performance of reverse osmosis membranes that I think we've covered in other Q&As. But under normal conditions, this can deliver 3/4 to 1 gallon per minute. Under ideal conditions, it can deliver more than a gallon a minute from the FlowRed, and that would give us, with the pressure losses and the flow rate loss because of the pressure and the resistance in the hose and tube and gravity and everything like that, we should always end up with half a gallon a minute at the brush. So the footprint of FlowRed, I'm 6'6", 2 meters. So this handle here can come out completely. So the minimum height is 32 inches, and the footprint is 16 inches by 22 inches. 16 by 22 by 32, right? So it's designed so that you can use it in a small vehicle as much as a big vehicle.
And if you are putting it in a vehicle and you want to lay FlowRed down?
Yeah, so then you would take this handle out and you would put this handle in. And that way you can lie it on its back, in the trunk or boot, depending on where you are in the world of the vehicle.
We're going to show you exactly how it works with some B-roll. So.
Okay, so you can add that, show that works. So I'll get these out of these little buckets. We're not going to spend a lot of time on these, but at the end we might just scroll through the little extras, what comes in there. So from a simple design, these little rubber buckets are just there so you can throw your bits and pieces, your gadgets. There's a cavity here which will handle a Liberty 331 pump,
yep,
or a Wayne PC4 pump. Which are 110 volt pumps for the States.
And also there are holes in it so you can just attach it there.
Yeah, and then the little feet of the Wayne PC4 will go in there. In one of these boxes here, there's a handle that you bolt on here so that it's easier if you need to lift it up.
Exactly.
Like that.
Or if you need to pick it up when it's laying down or whatever.
Yeah, and there's a little slot on either side here, and there's a anti-theft cable, because we've had a few flows stolen over the years, and also the Wash It Pro. Some guy's around the back of the house, and then his water stops, and he comes around to the front of the house, and his pure water system's gone.
Yeah, we'll show you the lock in the B-roll as well, so you know what it looks like.
Yeah, and you can just tie it around a tree, or you can tie it to some sort of pillar in your vehicle and make sure that it's unable to be stolen. So it's just it's a nice little feature.
Yeah, it's all there.
That's pretty much all we have to do for that. Okay, so this is a 4-stage filter.
Yep.
We have sediment. The first filter is sediment. The second filter is carbon. The purpose of the carbon is to take out chlorine, because chlorine will eat the RO.
Exactly.
And so then we have 2 reverse osmosis membranes, which are called 4021s.
Yes.
And
we also have them as if they want to buy
spare parts
after a few years.
Yep. And so we recommend that you change the sediment and the filter once a month.
Yeah.
They'll last much longer than that, but you need a routine, and you want to make sure that these are, just fresh. The reason we change the sediment, because the sediment is basically trapping anything that's in the water, the source water. So as it clogs,
it will get brown. It will be brown after like a month.
It'll be brown, yeah. And as it gets color, it's clogging. When it's clogging, it's stopping flow rate.
And we want flow rate.
And we want flow rate. So you just replace it anyway.
Yes.
They're only like $6 each or something like that. But the efficiency of extra flow is really, really worthwhile.
And the last but not least
is the little DI tank, which is here.
Resin.
So if you look at most pure water systems on the market have a 40-40. The 40-40 stands for 4 inches diameter, right, across here, and then 40 inches tall, and a 40-21 is 4 inches diameter and 21 inch tall. So when you have two 21-inch, you have the same surface area of membrane as a 40-40. So you get the same performance.
You can see other brands
the big tall
like
ones
this.
like Flow Blue, you know, the standard ones in the market are using 40-40s, but the problem with those, which I used to have those when I was a window cleaner, and they're just cumbersome.
Yeah.
You know,
it's hard to pack them in if you have a car as well.
Yeah, impossible.
So this is a more
and the
compact.
center of gravity is different and everything like that. So you know, we designed Flow Red. It was called Flow, then it's called Flow Red, and then it's Flow Red Plus is the current version. And
because now the tubes are the diameter is much
bigger. We increased and we removed 7 from Flow to Flow Red. No, from Flow Red to Flow Red Plus, we removed 17 elbows, bends, Ys, Ts, right out of it.
Everything it's like Formula 1 car.
Yeah, yeah.
Compared to Flow Red then.
And we, you know, a lot of people don't understand that a reverse osmosis membrane is really different by different manufacturers, designed for purpose, right? So the particular membrane, because window cleaners, we could be at the top of a hill and have 30 psi of pressure for the house, and we could be at the bottom of the hill and you could have 80 psi, right? Because you've got more head of gravity on the water coming out of the tap. So everything about a window cleaner is a non-standard application every single job, whereas normally reverse osmosis membranes would be in a desalination plant or a potable water plant or a chemical plant or a bottled water plant. So when you have those in those situations, you have pumps with a consistent pressure. You're creating water according to the same conditions all the time. Even they'll preheat the water with solar, so they get a higher rejection rate, and you get a higher performance from the reverse osmosis.
So membrane. The difference with these are that.
So these, the membranes that we put in here are actually just being made. We started buying this one in 2022. You know, so it's a very, very new membrane, and they're particularly high flow rate with a 100 psi pressure rating. So most membranes are rated at 150 psi. These are rated with the same or slightly higher flow rate at 100 psi as the other ones on the market. Most of the other ones on the market are at 150 psi.
Therefore, the Formula 1 reference. Or maybe IndyCar or maybe NASCAR.
Yeah.
It's the top of the line.
Yeah, NASCAR. I mean, it's just, you know, peak performance for what we want as a window cleaner, not just bolt an RO membrane onto a 1-inch square steel frame, right?
And it has evolved during several years to be
and we understand why the other systems don't deliver as much water as Flow Red, because they are predominantly not requiring the same flow rate. I mean, we're the leaders of you need half a gallon a minute, right? So we're the leaders of that. So you'll imagine that we're the leaders of making sure that our pure water system delivers that kind of flow rate. Whereas if other guys are making pure water systems, but they're selling pencil jets, they can't even deliver half a gallon a minute. The water would squirt, 10 feet.
No, it's based on feedback from hundreds of window cleaners around the world using Flow Red, and now we use that information and feedback to improve it to be Flow Red Plus, basically.
Yep. And from the radial backwards to make sure that we make a product which services.
It's from the tap to the glass.
Yes, you got it. And one of the other things which we can talk about is just, pressure affects the performance of reverse osmosis membranes, the pressure differential across them, right? So there's a differential. And also water temperature. So this time of year when we're recording, we're in spring.
Yes.
And so the water in the northern part of North America, the water is still really cold. And so if the water was 39 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 degrees Celsius, the production of any RO membrane is 50% of what it would be if it was 77 degrees Fahrenheit or 25 degrees Celsius. So a lot of guys who are in the north of North America, the freezing cold areas of North America, they will have a very different performance from any reverse osmosis membrane system coming into spring. Right, going into fall, the air temperature is dropping, but the ground is still warm.
Yeah, the groundwater will not change as fast as the seasons, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It lags. Yeah.
It changes, but it lags.
Yes.
It's like when you put on the sauna, you need some time, or like the jacuzzi.
Yes.
You need some time to get the temperature up.
Yes, like that. Okay, so it's 4-stage sediment, carbon, RO, DI. Doesn't matter how much you spend on a pure water system, they're all going to deliver the same quality of water, right? You can
Which is
dual zero TDS or less than 10 TDS is really your target. You don't have to get overly attached to zero.
We have another workshop for that.
Yeah. And so when you buy an RO system, there's two things you're looking for is what's the kind of flow rate I can get out of it? How does it look for my customer? Because I'm going to charge them a lot of money to clean their windows. I've got to look like I am money, right? Just like we wear uniforms and all sorts of things. You got to look like a pro. Yeah. So some people say it looks like an espresso machine. Other people ask if you can make meth with it. You know?
If you're like Breaking Bad area.
Yeah. So you know, the price that we sell this for is the same or a little bit more than other guys, but actually it's most of the other systems are just a square 1-inch steel frame, 2 wheels, and a cylinder. You know, there's no design, no extra, they're just not expensive, but they make a lot of money for them because they don't spend much money on them, right? So it's interesting. So because I've always been a salesman, so I always think that how you present is important, not just what's the function.
Absolutely.
Right?
What else do we got?
So the pathway of the water is through the sediment, through the carbon, then it goes through the 2 ROs and then into the DI tank. And the DI tank is changed like this. Yeah, so that's actually the DI tank there, and there's the cap is like that, right? And the resin is inside. So if we have to fly these to the customer, then there's no resin in them. And if we've sent them by sea to America or Australia, which we do, then they'll have resin in them. But we just can't put resin when it's flying.
And there's a resin bag inside the spare part pack there.
Oh, yes, a little resin bag so you can drop the resin. But you can also, when you buy the resin from us, the atomic resin, you can buy 2 refills for Flow Red Plus, and the little bag has already got the resin in it.
And when you fill the resin, don't fill it fully. Like maybe 70%.
Up to the thread. Yeah. You know, basically, you want some area at the top for the randomization. I think it's really important.
And if you want to change the pre-filter or the carbon filter, you can just use this.
The little wrench.
Yeah.
But really, you want to, like for most window cleaners, we've got big, strong hands. So you just want to, do it hand. It's got an O-ring in there, so you just do it hand tight, and then you can undo it by hand. All right. So when we go to turn it sideways, right? This is water in.
Yes.
Pure water out, blue.
Yes.
Wastewater out, red.
Yes.
As a rule, we set up flow red for around 60-40, which by the nature of...
What do you mean 60-40?
60% of the water will come out to pure, 40% will come out to waste.
Oh, that's already preset?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
can you change that? No.
Somebody could ask us to change it, and we could customize it on that.
Okay.
But the reason we do that is because, basically an owner-operator could control this really, really well. And we're thinking about making an owner-operator version, right? So there's not preset because there's some benefits. And there's some pros and cons of preset systems versus...
things can be done in bulk.
But the problem is if somebody fiddles with it wrong, they can really wreck it.
Okay.
So we preset it.
So if you have any question, put it in the comments below and we will answer it as soon as possible.
And then we have, these valves are here so that you can, if you're in transit, you can stop these from leaking.
So now they are stopped.
Yeah,
basically.
That's closed. Yeah.
When they point towards the
inline is open.
Yeah. Then we have a TDS meter as well.
Yes, I can show you the TDS meter. So again, when we ship these by air, they won't have a battery. So this one doesn't have a battery, but it's a dual TDS.
Yeah.
So it's going to read the RO out, and it'll read the DI out.
Yeah. So
right?
it's
the final product.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. We don't measure what's the tap water because we're only interested in the performance of the RO. Most people have got a TDS meter as window cleaners.
It's super easy.
So they get used to what is their tap water, but the most important is what's coming out of the RO, what's going into the DI, and then what's coming out of the DI.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think there may be a TDS meter included. I might be wrong.
No TDS meter.
Well, we have a TDS meter in store, I think.
Yeah.
But okay, so we have the TDS out from the RO, and we have a TDS out from the DI. And if you want to check your own tap water, you can just use your own TDS meter, or you can call your local water supplier, right? Or check online.
Yes. In fact, you could disconnect one of these and just drop it into a cup of tap water.
That's the money.
I mean, it's basically a TDS meter as an electrical conductivity meter.
Yeah,
right?
That's the and that's the battery right there.
The little battery slot is there. We've got some people who say the TDS meter doesn't work, and they put the battery in upside down, and they swear they haven't, and then they have So you've got to put the battery in the right way up. Right?
I know that. I've done that myself, but not on that.
Up here is a pressure gauge and temperature gauge.
Yes, that's correct.
The reason we have the temperature gauge is because it's really important. The performance of the flow red is very much affected by temperature. And that's all reverse osmosis systems. So it's not just this one. It is just by the nature of the viscosity of the water. When the water is colder, it's heavier and harder to push through the membrane.
Is there an optimal water temperature?
25 degrees, 77 degrees Fahrenheit, yeah. That's the maximum. There's a graph. It goes like that. So there's a minimum which is at 39 degrees Fahrenheit, and a maximum which is 77.
So the viscosity changes, and it will impact the flow rate basically.
Yeah, and it's pretty much linear. So it's a straight line between 4 degrees Celsius and 25 degrees Celsius. It's pretty much a straight line. So as
even
water
I can
warms
understand
up,
that. Even I can understand.
Yeah. So you have a temperature gauge because one day if you say blah blah blah, it's not this or it's not that, or it's doing really well. I wonder how come it's doing better than it was before. Then the temperature gauge will tell you the temperature of the water.
All right.
The pressure gauge is really important for you because it's the pressure in operation. There's also, because on the back, if I turn it around.
So where does it measure the pressure? Where the water is coming in or where the water is going out?
Yeah, well, pressure in a system.
I mean, it's not the same depending on where you measure, right?
It's the same no matter where you measure.
Ooh.
Right, the pressure is the same in any system, anywhere along that system.
Therefore, it's not about the pressure.
Yeah. Well, you could say, no, the pressure's the same as long as you're after the membrane.
Okay.
Something like
got
that.
it.
I think. But basically, the pressure gauge is, if this is an on-off switch, right? So this is basically, if you have that, the pressure gauge will tell you the pressure at the tap.
So what is it you're turning on off there? Is
this one here?
Yeah. So what is it you're turning on and off?
It's basically a tap going into it.
Right? So if you turn that off, no water will come in. Okay.
But the pressure gauge is still connected. So you can understand. You get to a job, you connect this, you close that, you read the pressure, you go, I've got 30 psi at this site, or I've got 80 psi at this site.
Yeah,
if you've got 30, you need to use the pump. If you've got 80, you don't need to use the pump, right?
Smart.
And the higher the pressure before the pressure differential across the membrane. So the pressure differential, what was I going to say is, you use a pump to get the pressure as high as possible, and the higher the pressure, the higher the pressure, the greater the rejection rate. In other words, the more effective the reverse osmosis membranes are at removing minerals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So the higher the pressure, the greater the rejection rate. Yeah?
So basically what you do, first you have it turned off, so you connect the water and you check the PSI, what it is.
Yes.
So you know the pressure, if you need a pump or not.
Yeah.
And then you turn it on, and depending on the pressure you already read.
Well, then what will happen, because you'll connect your hose, your tube, and everything else like that,
Okay,
and then the pressure gauge is going to tell you your operating pressure, right? And that's the pressure in the system, which is going to be the same all the way through the system.
Also, I know there's another switch on the other side.
Yes, I was going to roll it around one more time.
Careful.
So,
noise. Oh yeah, I can see it now.
There it is. So this is the flush valve. So when this is open, then all the water that's coming in will go through the sediment, through the carbon, through the reverse osmosis membranes, and out.
So basically, when it's horizontal, it's open. I'm not sure actually.
Yeah, I would be thinking so. Yeah.
Okay.
In line.
Yeah, in line it's open, and closed it's just.
When we close that valve, so when it's open, it's flushing, right? And you should flush the membranes after every job, 5 or 10 minutes. And if you ever see the RO out TDS creeping up, then flush it for 2 or 3 or 4 hours.
Oh.
Right? And you can, the best flush, right?
Because I know before we send it to them, we flush it for 2 hours, and then when they receive
pressure test it and all that.
Everything. And then we recommend that when you receive your Flow Red Plus, that you also
flush it another 2 hours.
2 hours,
yeah. And the best way to flush it is actually that you operate Flow Red and you put the water into a bucket or a bin or a tank, and then you have a little pump, and then you flush Flow Red Plus with the 000 water.
Oh.
Right?
So it's like going like a circle.
Yeah.
Same water, just that it's been
You could do that, or you could just pump it through. Like, have you had just a great big rubbish bin, full of water from Flow Red, and then you have a little pump and you pump it, connect it to the in, right? And then let it go to waste. You're not trying to get it to come out as pure, because you're trying to flush. So because TDS 000 water is very aggressively wanting minerals, so it'll take any buildup of minerals against the wall of the membrane, it'll take them off the membrane into the 000 water. Whereas an everyday flush, you're flushing with tap water. If your water's TDS 300, the maximum you can achieve is 300, right?
Yeah. And also that valve, we have an extra valve in the bag there.
Oh,
if they need that.
Oh, we do too. I wonder if they're the same. I'll find out if they're the same, because that might be, this is the valve that creates the relationship between the waste and the pure. 40, 60, 40, 40, 50, 50, 40, 60, like that. Pardon me.
Okay, so we're going through all the parts, like the pre-filter, the carbon filter, the reverse osmosis, the resin, the TDS meter, and then we have the temperature and the PSI, and also we have the valve, and also we have where you connect the hose with your water, and where the pure water comes out, and where the pure water, the dirty water, wastewater, and also if you want to turn off the tap on actually Flow Red, if you want to check the PSI from your water source.
Yes.
And we also have a little bit of they can scan a QR code there.
I don't know if that goes anywhere, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, go to our YouTube channel.
The YouTube channel, but it's got a serial number as well. So every Flow Red coming out of the factory has a quality control video that's stored.
Okay.
And then if it arrives and there's something wrong, we can go back and look at the QC video. If it ever drips or leaks, then usually it's just a push fit has been moved, so you just find that and push them back together.
Yeah.
And you can get rid of drips and leaks that sometimes happens in transit.
Because of course, if that happens, it will affect the flow rate.
Not so much, but it's just, you don't want it dripping if you can avoid it.
Yeah. Especially when you're moving it.
Yeah,
in your car or
it's
your
just,
truck or your van or whatever it is.
If you've paid money for it, it shouldn't drip. That's basically it. So,
what else are
but some things move in transit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else do we have in spare parts? We have some...
Just some connectors.
Gardinas that you can connect to the...
yeah, this is the red tube as a waste hose. You know...
we have B-roll of everything. So we can show it.
Yeah.
Anything you want to mention.
It's just stuff, you know.
Yeah. Stuff.
It's stuff... So the way we've always worked is we say, you know, 2 is 1, 1 is none. So if something could go wrong, right?
Murphy's Law.
With your system, we know the pieces that you might need, right?
Yeah.
So we've got loads of pieces that you might need. You also may not need them, but, you know, all the Gardena connectors and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, I don't think we need to go through that. Just show them that they're in there, and we can answer any questions in the comments below.
Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, and we also have, if you're watching this on YouTube, we have a playlist where we have all the Reach It workshops. We have over 80 workshops with different topics, and I'm sure you're going to learn something from each and every one of them, with Perry talking about different topics that are basically based on questions that have been coming in over the years, just trying to cover it.
Yep. Brilliant.
Sweet.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Just tighten that up.
Yeah, you can tighten that up with the lever. It's actually the same lever as the poles, I think.
Yeah.
So you can just adjust the tightness as well.
Yeah.
And also you have this little grip on the actual aluminium there.
Yeah, and this will come out.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's got three settings.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
might have
need to try to get there. Yeah.
But anyway, tall people use it like that. Short people use it like that. You know, and in your vehicle, it's the other way. You know, this one here.
If you have one of our Reach It poles, it's the same lever, so you know how it works. But it's really simple. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it. That's got to be a wrap. Don't you reckon?
It's a wrap.
Sweet. So we'll see you in the next one.